In this lecture, we'll learn about the pagination component. Pagination links indicate that a series of related content exists across multiple pages. This is useful for long lists of content, like search results. Let's take a quick look at this component. We have the normal text-based pagination, one with icons in the sides and disabled and active states. We can size the component as being either small, default, or large. We can align the component to either side or in the center. To demonstrate this, we'll first create a nav element with the attribute area label and the value search result pages. Inside the nav element, we'll create an unordered list with the class Pagination. Inside the unordered list, we'll create a list item with the class PageItem. And finally, inside the list item, we'll create an anchor tag with the class PageLink and some text. We'll now duplicate this list item a few times and change the text of the anchor tags. Let's have a look in the browser. It looks just as we would expect. Now let's substitute the previous and next buttons with icons. For better clarity, we'll just move the anchor tag down one line. We then remove the text and add it in an area label attribute for the anchor tag instead. The icon will be placed inside a span element, which we give the area hidden attribute with the value true. The icon itself will be a left-aligned quote HTML entity. For screen readers, we'll provide the previous label inside a span with the class SR only. We'll now copy this anchor tag, replace the anchor tag in the last list item, change the labels to next and the icon to the right-aligned quote HTML entity. As we can see, we now have the pagination component with numbers and icons. We'll now go back to the first pagination example and talk about active and disabled states. To mark the active state of a list item, we will add the class active to it. For accessibility, we will also add a label for screen readers to indicate that this is the current page. We'll do this by adding a span element with the class SR only and the text current. To make the last item disabled, we'll add the class disabled. To disable keyboard functionality, we'll also add the tab index attribute with the value -1. In the browser, we can now see both the active and disabled states. A safer way would be to actually use span elements instead of anchor tags for the active and disabled states, so that they are not clickable in any way. So let's now change our anchor tags to span elements. We can also remove the tab index attribute since this is no longer necessary. Let's see how it looks. It looks the same, but now there's no anchors in the code for the active and disabled items. We can create different sizes of the pagination component. To make it small, we simply add the class Pagination SM to the unordered list. To make it large, we add the class Pagination LG to the unordered list. To align the pagination component, we use Flexbox utilities. To center it, we add the class Justify Content Center to the unordered list. To right align it, we add the class Justify Content End to the unordered list. We have now learned how to create a pagination component for indicating a series of related content. Go on and continue with the coding exercises, which will help you learn the correct structure for this component. In the next lecture, we'll learn about the popover component.